In the year 1476, Geoffrey Chaucer, who was working in Bruges at the time, moved his printing press to London, to Westminster, to within the precincts of Westminster Abbey. And there he set up a press and he printed the first book printed in England with movable type. And that book happened to be the most important piece of Middle English literature ever written. And it was, of course, the Canterbury Tales. Now, this is not the first edition. This is not the 1476 edition. In fact, if we look at the title page, the works of Geoffrey Chaucer, newly printed with divers editions, and this wonderful armorial title page, we see, virtue flourisheth in Chaucer still, though death of him hath wrought his will. And the date here, 1560. So this makes it, in fact, a 5th edition of the works of Chaucer. And if we turn to the Knight's Tale, which is number 1, we have the most gorgeous woodcut illustration there. And we have this wonderful black letter, which typifies the printing of this period. And also wonderful paper, too. I don't think they made better paper. And looking through this particular copy, there are very few stains, there's very few finger marks. It's the crispest, cleanest copy that one could possibly wish for. Right, yeah. And if I turn to the colophon right at the end here, we can see who it was printed for and the date. Here we are. Imprinted at London by John Kingston for John White, dwelling at Pool's Churchyard, anno 1561. So they started in 1560 and finished it, which is at the end, in 1561. Now the binding, again, is remarkable. Now it's lacking its clasps here, which is understandable because these often did wear off. But there is the remains here of a very fine blind stamped calf binding. Now this style of blind stamped calf came from the continent and was used not so often over here in our book decoration. The spine has, if we look at it, has been taken off and a new spine put on with the old spine laid down on top of that. But indeed the work was done such a long time ago that it's actually splitting here. But it's a sumptuous copy. It's a prince of copies. It's very exciting. It's lovely. Now you have to tell me where your side of things come in. Where did it come from?
Well, it came from a friend of mine, and his aunt died about 6 months ago, and at the age of about 80. And John inherited this from her. That's unfortunately about all I know about it.
So you brought it in today for him?
He was going to come today, yes, but he couldn't make it, so he asked me if I would come down.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful. Now, if this was the first edition of the Canterbury Tales, we'd be talking somewhere in the region of £850,000. But don't get excited, please. I only did that to wind you up slightly.
Yes, Don't mind that I'm getting around.
This is the 5th edition of the complete works of Chaucer. And in my view, books of this age and this quality are stunning value. And I estimate this not to be £850,000, but about 8,500. Yes. It's a wonderful book. And thank you so much for bringing it in.
Well, thank you very much for explaining to us. It's superb. Thank you very much.